Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and I'm back with another episode of the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders playthrough with Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2020. Today we're going to get through all the tournaments. We've already gotten through the Conference USA tournament, so we'll get through the Final Four tournament and all the other postseason tournaments, and probably get into not necessarily the next season, but we might get down to the point where we'll be able to look at our conference awards and just how the board thinks we did, see kind of where we fell in terms of the goals. It's really kind of evident where we missed. I mean, we didn't really do anything this year that would meet a goal. The only thing I think I'm interested in seeing is if they consider us finishing low enough not to make the tournament, the conference tournament, if that's going to be considered last in the conference. Because technically we didn't finish last. If you look at the standings, we finished tied for, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams. We were tied for 12th, technically. But I feel like having such a poor season that we didn't even make the tournament, that might qualify as finishing last. But that's the only goal that I have a chance of even of making. But we'll see when we get to that point. It looks like, just to recap, Louisiana Tech, who had the best record in the conference, they wound up winning the tournament. So it's going to be a pretty good representation here, I think, from this conference. I mean, they may be pretty strong. Looking at how we have our assistant has them scouted, let's kind of see. Yeah, they got some good depth. I mean, they've got a power forward, a shooting guard at 3.5 stars, backup power forward and center at 3 stars, fairly young. I'm just seeing like 1, 2 seniors. Yeah, so they look pretty good. But any chance they have is in the Final Four tournament is going to depend on who they're ranked, or who they're matched up against. One of the things, though, before we started simming, I wanted to address, and I think it's probably, I'm kicking myself for not waiting, but I wanted some videos up there because, you guys have been so good sticking with my UAB playthrough. But I've just realized, this new version is releasing, and I'm probably not going to, well, I think I'm pretty certain that I'm not going to do any videos while the game is in first access, which is kind of like a pre-release. What's the Steam term? I just lost it for a second, but well, it's not officially released, and so I'm gonna wait until a lot of the bugs and some other guys get a chance to play and report and fix. The developer gets to fix any bugs they have before I get really started on a playthrough. Because worst thing I think you can do is get started on one, and then it turns out that a bug happens, that the save files are not going to be compatible with the fix, and so you have to start over. I don't want to get down that road. But one of the things that the developer has also said on their forum, which is WolverineStudios.com, if you're interested in checking out the news on the game. At the moment, past saves are not going to be compatible, and I think he's working on getting that corrected, but I'm not sure he'll be able to, simply because, like, what he's saying is, I think some of the conferences and things moved around. And I don't know. I feel like, I'm eager to try the new game. It's got some features that look good. It's got some improvements on some of the... one of the things I'm really wanting to try is, I think he's made it easier when you're setting your strategies. you're able to quickly at a glance see how your team proficiencies go depending on the strategy you want to run, and I'm really wanting to get started playing that. There's some recruitment upgrades. There's just some UI enhancements. So I'm eager to try it, but I don't want to get started on a playthrough that I got to end, because I'm really, it's like I hate it, but I have never really been able to stay with a team longer. I think 4 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons is the longest I've been with, and unfortunately with the UAB that only happened because of a computer crash, and that's my goal, and so I was thinking maybe if you guys don't have any objections, and you can let me know in the comments, maybe just waiting till 2021, the version is officially released, and I'm confident that it's stable enough that I can put some playthroughs out there. Then what I'll probably do is pick back up with the Middle Tennessee team. If they're not available, maybe another team in the Conference USA, and just go from there. I know it's Christian Eschmeyer, some of these guys won't be there, I'm pretty sure. But regardless, I feel like at least I can take back that team, and I do like this conference that they're in. It's kind of where I want to start. It's my goal is to basically see if I can kind of build a long-term winner, but you got to play long-term, and unfortunately I haven't been able to do that. So now that the game's just starting, the new version's just coming out, I'm hoping I get started on one and just stay with it as long as I feel like it, over the next few months. But, I just wanted to throw that out there. If you guys have any opinions one way or another, just put it in the comments, and I appreciate it. But let's go ahead and we'll sim through the rest of the season anyway and see how we finish up. I'll take a quick look at the polls going into, I don't know if we did this last episode or any previous episodes, but some of the things that are, pretty evident too when you play out several seasons of this game. And a lot of that has to do with the mod probably that was built. And a lot of it just happens to do with college basketball the way it is. I mean, you have these same teams really put together some long Kansas, for instance. I mean, they have been super competitive for, in the previous playthroughs I was working on when I was with UAB, I think I'd gone through 9 seasons of the game, and Kansas was there, man, every year. I mean, they were competitive every single year. This year, you're seeing a mix. I've noticed Brigham Young has been pretty good at times. Gonzaga has been up and down. Vanderbilt, they had a great year this year out of the SEC. Yeah, I mean, this season is pretty interesting. I am seeing some teams that look a little new. And Duke is on there, but North Carolina, I don't know if I see them anywhere. But anyway, I wanted to point out, though, Kansas is probably, for this 2020 version anyway, and the mods that they built, they've got to be probably the best program in the game that I've seen. So if you're looking to just pick up a program you can dominate with for 10, 20 years, you couldn't go wrong with Kansas. They're really strong. But let's go ahead and... Oh, I think I've got to advance. I'm sorry. I think for this one, I don't think there are any games left. So let's look at the Final Four tournament. And I think we may have to advance after this one. Yeah, now we advance to the selection show. And I have been kind of skipping through that time, but if you've got a good, if you're having a good run, I think it'd be cool to go through that just to kind of build the suspense. Like if you've had a good season and you really want to know what seed you're going to get and it's not clear, you know, I think it'd be kind of cool to play that out a little bit. But let's go through. Well, I'm going to do it sim today because we're going to have some play-in games here real quick. But before we do that, I want to look at before we go through the Final Four, I want to look at some of these other postseason tournaments. So the CIT, hey, Penn State, they had a good season for what it's worth. But we got, just wanting to take a look at who's coming to these postseason tournaments from Conference USA. So you got Florida Atlantic, a second seed in the East region. Tennessee Tech, an old team that we played against in the OVC. They're in this tournament. And Old Dominion is a second seed in the Midwest region. In the South region, not seeing any other teams. And then in the West region, no teams there. But we have a couple teams showing in the CIT. CBI in the East region. Some good teams here. We got Western Kentucky from Conference USA are going to be in this one. And this is a pretty small tournament, just 16 teams in the West region. I don't see any other Conference USA teams. And then NIT East region, Marshall from Conference USA. And then in the South region, Western Michigan in the South region. That's really weird. And in the West region, so we got one team in the NIT. So what is that, like 5 teams overall who are going to be in postseason tournaments? That's one of the things I like about the Conference USA. It gives a small program a chance to really develop up to scale, you know. And I think that's why I always wanted to pick it. And so, for what it's worth, that was it's always been my plan anyway, to get a good long playthrough going on with a conference like this. So we should be getting close to one more day, and I think we'll know the final matchups and seeds for the Final Four tournament. Nope, we got them right now. So let's go through it. In the Charlotte region, Kansas is going to be number 1. Some teams, that I'm familiar with, of course, Memphis, West Virginia. Gonzaga's 3rd seed in this one. So they were ranked maybe 2nd or 3rd in the country. And they put them in that same region as Kansas. Boy, that's really bad luck. And in the Lexington region, we got Michigan State, the top seed here. Got some SEC teams. Looks like SEC has a really good representation. You got Vanderbilt 2nd, and I'm counting 4, 5 teams from the SEC, 6 teams. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 teams from the SEC just in that region. And then in the Charlotte region, was there any from there? 1. So SEC's got a pretty good showing there. And then Duke is going to be the top seed in the Atlanta region. Still got some more SEC teams. And I'm in the SEC country. That's why I kind of keep an eye on them. Cincinnati's pretty high seed out of this one. Texas, 3rd seed. Louisiana Tech. This is from Conference USA. 11th seed. That's about where that conference prestige-wise is going to fit. Indiana, the 2nd seed there. And then Boise region, Xavier's top seed, another SEC team, Belmont, our old OVC competition. Maryland, a 2nd seed. Maryland is another team that finishes typically really high in a lot of these playthroughs I've noticed. So let's go ahead and we're going to get it started with first day of the tournament. And it looks like Old Dominion won their game. And I think they were the CIT tournament. All right, so here we go. Charlotte region, we'll look at their games first. Of course, at this point, I'm looking for upsets, but and I may have seen one already. Lipscomb over Mississippi State. Yeah, SEC must have had close to 10 teams in this conference, or in this tournament. So we got Kansas easy over Bethune-Cookman. New Mexico 3-point win over Southern California. Utah Valley an upset over Memphis. West Virginia handles theirs pretty easy. Georgia Tech over Buffalo. Seton Hall wins. Alabama upsets Kansas State, and then Gonzaga wins. So you got a 1-9, 12-4, 12, 11, 10. So some pretty good upsets out of this region already. In the Lexington region, maybe one upset. It looks like Michigan State, the number 1 seed. Easy win for them. Pittsburgh, a really easy win over Arkansas. UNLV in. Kentucky in. Florida beats Clemson, kind of an upset. Louisville over Stetson. Missouri over Duquesne. So Vanderbilt, strong win over Stephen F. Austin. So no. I don't think there's any big upsets out of that region. Then we move to Atlanta. And we got Duke, pretty easy over, Rider, for what it's worth. Mississippian, Brigham Young, Cincinnati. Louisiana Tech, hey, look at that, a huge win over Notre Dame. So Conference USA, a good showing there. And take a look at the box score. I mean, they really tore them up. Great game, first and second half. Louisiana Tech, I think they're still young enough. You got Melson here, unless he's a freshman point guard, unless some of these guys maybe go to the draft. Louisiana Tech may be strong for a few seasons in this one. And they're going to be matched up against Texas, who handled Oral Roberts pretty easily there, 71-43. And then the Boise region, Xavier over Boston University. UCLA, 9 seed over 8. Belmont out, lost pretty big to Connecticut. South Carolina and Maryland. Oregon knocks off Arizona. Arizona is one of those teams that's always strong season after season in this game. Ohio State, Illinois. So, a couple decent upsets there. So I think, pretty good matchups, I guess. But I've mentioned it, I guess, the last season that we were going through this tournament, and probably every season. It typically comes down to the top 2 seeds out of each region. I've noticed year after year. I think there may have been one season I simmed where a 10 seed made it to the Final Four, but it's rare. It's typically 1 and 2. Every once in a while, you'll see maybe a 3 or 4 get in there. Depends on how they were seeded and what conference they're in. I think I've seen several seasons when you had a couple teams from the Big Ten, for instance, made it to the Final Four. So it looks like Kentucky's going to be in the Sweet 16 here over UNLV. Always liked, I'm pretty old school, but I always liked those UNLV teams from like the 80s, 90s. All right, so in Charlotte, Kansas, another easy win over New Mexico. West Virginia wins their game. Alabama wins over Gonzaga. And then Georgia Tech over Seton Hall. So here's a chance, for a pretty low seed. Although you've got, I think even one of my viewers even commented, a 10 seed from a strong conference, are they really that big of Cinderella? So you got Georgia Tech and Alabama. They're in 2 very strong conferences. So yeah, maybe not. I mean, they had to get their, they got their place in the tournament, I'm sure, from an invite, So that's how strong a season these guys probably had. So now in the Lexington, we got Michigan State easy, Kentucky easy, Florida over Louisville, close, 80-78, and the Missouri wins over Vanderbilt. That sucks. I was kind of rooting for Vanderbilt there, but you're going to have 3 SEC teams from this region. and the Charlotte region has one SEC team, so they're really representing here in this tournament. And I saw another SEC win there, South Carolina, before it blinked off. So Atlanta region, Duke over Mississippi, Cincinnati over Brigham Young, Texas, Oklahoma State, 2-point win over Indiana. So for the most part, this is, like I was saying, it's going to be one of the top teams probably coming out of this region to the Final Four. Definitely here, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4. No upsets at all in this Sweet 16 round. So you got Illinois, South Carolina, Xavier, Maryland. But Big Ten, that's 2 teams. 3. Is West Virginia Big Ten or ACC or Big 12? I can't remember. They're one of those that, I think it's ACC right now in basketball. But how about the SEC showing in here? Alabama, 3 here, that's 4. And then 5 from this. So almost a third of the teams in the Sweet 16 are from the SEC. All right, so let's keep going. Old Dominion from our Conference USA Conference still winning in their tournament. And I think it was Marshall who made the they were the ones who made it to the NIT. So we'll take a look at those tournaments too when we finish up. Hopefully you're interested enough in that. I always like to see, and like I say, if, we're all going to be using probably the same mods for this game to when you're playing out, using like the real college mods. I always think it's really interesting to see who the good teams are year over year over year, which teams surprise, which conferences are strong, stronger than the others. Those are all things I'm kind of looking for when I go through these tournaments at the end of the season. So first round games of the Sweet 16, and we'll be in the Charlotte region first. So Missouri over Florida, so the SEC battle there. So Kansas easy over West Virginia by 20 points. Kansas looking really strong. Georgia Tech knocks off Alabama. Look at that, 39 points. Wow. Just 16 of 60 shooting. Man, that was a beatdown. So interesting matchup for the final here. I mean, you've got dominant Kansas against Georgia Tech, who could I don't know if it shows their record in the box score. Let me see. No, I don't see it there. I think I could go back to if I wanted to see their overall record, I could go back to like the grid view, or I could see what they were like coming in. So Georgia Tech. Looks like they weren't even ranked in the top 25. So man, there they are, 22-12. Maybe they had did they just have a good showing in the tournament? I know I'm bouncing around here, but I'm really interested in this right now. No, they went out fairly early in the tournament. That's really interesting to me. But they've done a great job here. And then we got Missouri, another team. It just looks like the SEC has been pretty strong out of this region, and it was going to be one of them, I guess, making it there. So we got Michigan State against Missouri, and then in the Atlanta region, Maryland squeaks out a win against Illinois. Look at that, 1-point win. So we're going to have Duke holding on, number 1 seed, and it's going to be 1-3 as Texas gets rid of Oklahoma State. And then in Boise region, it's going to be 1-2. Xavier over South Carolina. That may have gone to overtime, looks like. 105-96. Yep. No, it didn't. It was just a high-scoring game. And then on the other side, Maryland, like I say, that big 1-point win. So if we're still looking for Cinderellas, it would probably be Georgia Tech at this point because of that matchup. That's going to be tough. So now, who's going to be in the Final Four? We know it's going to be Michigan State. Again, third-ranked team in the country, number 1 seed, so no surprises. And Kansas, 11-point win over Georgia Tech. So 1-1 out of those. And Xavier knocked off by Maryland. So the Final Four, you're going to have Duke losing to Texas, and you're going to have Maryland beating Xavier. So that's going to pretty much get you a 1-1-2-3. But like I said, it's almost always when you get to the Final Four, it's the top teams out of those regions that make it. Which I know is probably as it should be, but hey, every once in a while I like a good Cinderella story. I mean, Georgia Tech, great program, always have been really in basketball since I've been around, right? But that would still be a pretty Cinderella story to me if they were to make it that far. And I'm just doing a day at a time right now because I'm paying attention to some of these games in the back end. Those other tournaments should be coming down to the wire. Old Dominion, their run's over. I think that was a CIT tournament, it's listed as a CIT, but it's a different tournament. So now here we go. I bet it's going to be Kansas, Maryland. That's my pick. Nope, Texas, which is a little bit of a stunner. I don't know that Texas has been I can't remember the last time Texas was a really dominating program. I may be wrong on that, though. They may have been pretty good here lately. So Michigan State, so I was wrong. It's going to be Michigan State, Texas. So that was terribly wrong on those. So now we'll go to the finals. And Michigan State, in a low-scoring game, they beat Texas 52-48. That would have been a tough game to watch. I guess if you like defense, maybe not. But Texas just 48 attempts, 29% shooting. Michigan State, 27% shooting. Gosh. A lot of blocks. 5 for this Ledbetter. This guy must be a really good center defensively. 12 rebounds. He had a pretty good game, but... Oh, cancel. Sorry about that. So that'll do it for the tournaments. I'm going to go through and look at the other ones, just like I say, to see how this conference. So this is not the CIT, is it? Yeah, it is the CIT tournament. So Old Dominion made it to the final here. Lost to Iowa State. In terms of the other, Florida Atlantic, they made it to the regional final. So good showing there. Let's see if we got any other teams. Like I say, Old Dominion, they won the region. And that may have been all the teams we had. Yep, that was it. And then, good showing there from Conference USA. In the CBI tournament, we have Western Kentucky winning against North Carolina. Big win. They made it to the finals. Is that right? No, they made it to the Final Four. Lost to Nevada, so good showing from them. And I think that was the only Conference USA team out of... yeah, that was it. And then lastly, the NIT, we only had Marshall, who won their first game, then lost to Villanova. That's a pretty tough matchup, right? But some good teams in the NIT. You're always going to have some really good programs there. In the finals, it went to Wisconsin over Colorado State. So, good thing there. And now, let's look at the inbox. I think we're going to be down to the final Association Award winners. So we're going to advance to that. I'm really hoping that, like I say, that we got Eschmeyer at least. I can't think of anybody else who would have gotten noticed, but I'm hoping he got some picks there for the freshman team. So let's take a look at the entire association. Norton Award went to Brigham Young, Keith Sanders. Final Four, Most Outstanding Player, Player of the Year, Keith Sanders again. Gonzaga, Kansas, Coach of the Year. First Team All-American. We got Brigham Young, Oklahoma State, Missouri, Kansas, West Virginia. Second team, we got Florida State, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, Syracuse, Notre Dame. So all big programs there. And looking at Conference USA, so Freshman of the Year did not go to our guy. Louisiana Tech, man, they're going to be tough in this conference right now. Dan Napier, Player of the Year out of Florida International. I wonder if he's a center. He is. Centers, I've noticed, get a lot of these Players of the Year go to the centers. But Ben Mastrom was Freshman of the Year. I could see that. Small forward, 15 points, good game or good season from him. Coach of the Year went to a guy from Louisiana Tech, and then first team all conference. We got Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, Florida Atlantic and International, and North Texas, and then second team Old Dominion, Marshall. Yeah, nobody from us. So unfortunately, we were kind of shut out. This was a poor season. The worst season I've had since I played this game. In fact, worst record by far that I've ever had. I feel like, looking back, I wish I had done a pushover schedule that may have given us 2 or 3 more wins. Still wouldn't, I don't think it would have impacted the conference standings at all, though. I don't think we would have made the tournament. I don't think we would have met the goals that they set for us. We would have had to have, being 7-11 in conference, we would have had to finish maybe 8-3. Yeah, we could have finished 8-3 in those first 11 games if we had just a really easy schedule, maybe. But that really set us back going in there 3-8. I'm assuming that here's my guess. Since this is my first season with this program, we didn't meet the goals. I'm gonna assume that it's taken a hit to my that my job security's taken a hit, but not over half. I'll say maybe 40%. So I think job security might be at 60% for me. So I can move to another school. I don't want to do that. So we failed. So they did give us a succeed in terms of don't finish last in conference. So that could have been even worse. But we failed. We did lose prestige. Job security wise, now we're 80%. So we're still okay. I feel like this, we could have a pretty bad season and still probably hang on to the job. But I really don't foresee another 10-19 record with this team. But anyway, that'll do it. I'll go through the off season. Well, I guess I'll probably deliberate a little bit and maybe wait for any feedback I get from the viewers in terms of, do I just wait and start a new playthrough with 2021 version? do I play with this one as long as I can, and just realize I probably won't get much more than one more season, maybe two, before I switch over to 21. So I'm kind of leaning towards waiting for 2021. I just hate that, I keep swapping teams and things like that. But if you can, give me some feedback on that, what you'd like to see. And I will see you next episode regardless. And as always, thanks for liking, subscribing, and supporting the channel. I'll see you next episode.